welcome to the Vet SOS Veteran Entrepreneur Spotlight. Remember, don't transition. Grab the Vet SOS Lifeline. The Veteran Entrepreneur Spotlight is sponsored by Spear Point Solutions. Spear Point Solutions is a one-stop shop for leading-edge products, services, and training from multiple vendors. From AI training to corporate gifts and much more, they have everything you need to help your organization thrive in the modern economy. Please check out all the valuable offerings at spearpointonline.com, and remember to use the code VETSOS on anything you purchase there. That will help us continue our mission of improving the lives of those who have served. Today, I'm sitting down with my good friend, Don Gleason. Don leverages his passion to help leaders find the career that energizes them so they can build the life that fulfills them. He knew early in life his passion to clean America's waters and then lead teams to new heights. After 42 years in the military and corporate leadership positions, he now helps others find their passion. As many know, the destination, but not the path. I knew a lot about you, Don, but I don't think I ever knew that it was 42 years. That's a long time to be in the military.
Well, no. It was 27 in the military, nine in corporate, 7.
Gotcha. Okay. So, after 42 years in total.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. 42 years experience. Yeah. No, I would have had to be some 4-star general to get to 42 years unless I was prior enlisted, right?
My goodness.
Yeah. 27 was quite a surprise, though. For a guy who graduated college, did not want to join the military. Then I only joined because I wanted to get 4 years of experience. To stay 27 I was just extremely blessed. Just opportunity. It all meshed with me. We talk about, we're going to get into that, but it all meshed with me, right? The leaders, the mission, the purpose, the culture. And I would not have guessed that until I got into it.
Makes a world of difference, though, when it all comes together like that and you enjoy what you're doing, right?
Oh, man, that's it. That's it.
All right. So let's start real quick with your military transition. How did that whole process go for you?
Well, it ties right into what we were just talking about, right? So it went really well. I started sometimes I say it's 24 years early because I never thought I was going to go beyond 4 years, like I said. So at 3-year point, I was thinking about getting out. I was taking the Military Officers Association, then the TROA, the Retired Officers Association, career transition course. So I went through that. Then I stayed. So every couple of years I was thinking about getting out. So I kept constantly staying in tune with networking and my resume and purpose. When I got up to my senior ranks, Major, Lieutenant Colonel, I got to interview for jobs. So I had that experience. I had a resume. I had worked the cover letter. I did the interview process. I was learning, and just about the time I made Colonel when it shut off, you couldn't interview anymore. Mm-hmm. So, but I had that experience. So now coming into my 27 years, so about 24 years, I took the first executive TAP, Transition Assistance Program course. And that was really good to kind of get me thinking about things and from different aspects. But it wasn't until July of 2008, 1 year out, that I really got serious. And one day, this is the second time through the executive TAP, and the facilitator led us through a bunch of questions. And she gave us a questionnaire. She goes, I'm going to implore you tonight to sit down and really go through these because I want to hear tomorrow what you got out of it. And I did. I blocked off 4 hours. I went up in my office up in Alexandria, Virginia, and I sat down and just locked the door and just really thought into it, right? Do I want to be a technical person or business development? Do I want to lead people or not? Do I want to be inside or outside? All simple questions. But until I really wrote them down, I had it up here, but not fully inside my soul. And then it was, what do you want to do? What do you not want to do? Right? And I knew I never wanted to do facility design or construction or facility maintenance. Did them in the Air Force, did well, made a name for myself, but that was not my passion. Go back to what we just started with, right? I wanted to do environmental. I wanted to do emergency management. And that really narrowed down the companies that I wanted to talk to. And I had a bunch of people telling me, oh man, you can get so much more money by going over here. And I said, it's not about money to me. It's about my passion, my purpose to clean America's waters. Ever since the 5th grade, I wanted to be an environmental. Now I had an opportunity to get back into environmental. Yeah. And Booz Allen Hamilton allowed me to do that. And it just became a mesh. It was a great company. They were doing some great things. So the role I loved, I sat down and talked with all the potential bosses. There was 3 of them that I was going to work with, really meshed with each of them. One was a little more interesting, but he was going to be my direct boss. But he had great potential, and he could teach me about business development like nobody else. So he and I ended up meshing really well over time. So that worked. The culture worked. They were about 35% military. And so that's why I really focus in on those three things when I tell people to think about what you want to do. Right? We often just think about my job, but I thought about my life. What is it I really want my life to look like, right? I want to be able to be with my wife at home on the weekends and at night, and I want to be able to travel, and I want to have flexibility. I walked into my boss one day, and I said, hey, does it matter to you where I work? He goes, no, you figure it out. He says, you need to be at home? Be at home. You want to work in the office? Work in the office. You want to go down to Starbucks? Go to Starbucks. I don't care. Just get your job done. And this was like 2010, so long before COVID. And it worked out great. So everything about it just fleshed. And I had a great transition. I stayed there for 9 years, way beyond what the IVMF, Institute for Veterans and Military Families, talks about.
Oh, yeah. And that's fantastic. And a lot of times it just comes down to that right fit. I mean, yeah, lots of money's great, but if you're miserable, what fun is the money?
That's right.
It's you want to spend your money on stuff like alcohol instead.
That's right. Or just doing stupid things, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
How about you? Did yours work out well?
Oh yeah. I had a fantastic transition, and the podcast is a big reason for that, because I was hearing all the stories from people, and I was paying attention. You were one of the early guests we had on, I think guest number 2, and telling your story and how that went. And, I think you're the first one I ever heard really talk about how you were transitioning the whole time. Like you never gave up on your transition, even though you decided not to transition at the time. And that's just, it shows how powerful that can be if you have that knowledge and understanding early that, hey, eventually I'm leaving the military, so I need to set myself up for success. And, he did it fantastic.
I don't understand where some people thought, I thought I was always going to be in the military. That was never part of the plan. The government is not going to keep you forever, right? You're always going to top out at some point. Even if you make 4-star general or sergeant major of the Army, at some point, you're going to get out. And the only question is, are you going to do something else? Or are you going to retire and go play golf? And neither one of those is bad.
Right. Well, it depends on how good a golfer you are.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
All right. So let's jump into your entrepreneurial journey. What led you down this pathway to become an entrepreneur?
So, I always had this dream. I remember flying on flights when I was in the military and then with Booz Allen, and I would read the magazines back when they had them, the magazines in the seat behind you, right? The seat in front of you. And I would read about some of these entrepreneurs. I was like, wow, isn't that interesting how some of these guys did this? And I remember there was a show on CNBC. I can't think of the Marcus Lemonis, The Prophet, I think it's something like that. Yeah. And he talks about buying and selling companies and working in companies and growing companies. And I thought I could do that. I can do those things. At that point, I had kind of moved from environmental into leadership. And I really loved helping teams become greater than they thought they could be, help individuals perform at a higher level than they thought they could. It's all mindset, right? And so I really started thinking about what I could do. And it just happened to be at that time, I was sick and tired of government contracting. I had this dream that I could help people and they would listen because they're paying for it, which is interesting because the government contracts, they would put them on the street. They would define what they want. And then when we decide we provided that, they fought us on it. I was just like, why are you fighting me if you asked me to do this? Right? We were doing a cost efficiency contract, and we had to come up with cost efficiency ideas and how to manage it and how to accumulate them and how to sell it to the government. And they really did not want to do it. And they certainly didn't want us to come up with ideas. So we just fought them for 3 or 4 years. I was traveling every week for 3 years. And I was fine, just banging my head on the wall. And I said, I've had enough of this. And that wasn't just one experience. I had several experiences like that. So when that all started coming together, I got a call. Well, I actually saw on Thanksgiving of 2014, I saw a Facebook post for the John Maxwell team, leadership, training, and coaching. So I filled it out. Saturday, I was out walking. The guy calls me. He says, you got 5 minutes? I said, I'm walking. I got an hour. Let's talk. And it just all meshed. I researched them. I joined in December, got certified the next August, and things just took off. Started learning and growing and helping people. But it wasn't until into 2019 that it really meshed into career transition. To really start to focus on that aspect of it.
That's awesome. So what's been the best and the worst part about being an entrepreneur?
The best part is seeing how people change, seeing people get that, to me, career transition, right? Get that job that they really want. What you read in the beginning, helping people find that job that energizes them. There is something out there for everybody. And if we're not in tune to what we want, we're going to settle for something different. And what's the cost of settling? Yeah. You're not always happy. And you'll never be happy in everything, right? But now it becomes more often than not, you're not happy. When I was in that cost efficiency job, I'm getting made fun of by my vice president joint venture boss. He goes, he didn't want to do it. So every time we try to come in, he's making fun of us publicly, making fun of us privately, trying to reduce my staff, just not coordinating on the things that we wanted to do to how to capture all these cost efficiencies. Every step of the way, we were battling each other. And at one point, we came up, one of my guys came up with an idea, and I helped move it up to the CEO of the joint venture, and he loved it. And then all of a sudden, all the VPs started coming to my office and screaming at me. He's like, you can't do this. You can't do this. You didn't coordinate with me. I'm like, dude, egos are out of this, man. Your boss has already approved it. And I probably didn't make any friends that way, but we got things through. And I just got tired of that. Yeah. So why did they hire us if they don't want to follow us? That was the whole point of it. So now I wanted to get into a business where I could fire my client if that's what I had to do. If we're not meshing, then we're just going to agree to sever the contract and go our own separate ways. And we've had to do that a couple of times, people that are not taking action, and I've seen that. My coach at one point told me she was going to fire me because he didn't think I was taking action, but it was all ruminating in my head. I was trying to figure out, am I going to do leadership training for companies, or am I going to do career transition? And God kept pulling me toward the career transition. The push, my ego, making big money, wanted to go to corporate training. Yep. But I finally realized, God, you're in control and you want me over here. So that's where we're going. Nice. Yeah. So that's the worst part, though, is trying to figure that piece out. Yeah. Is what is my purpose? Who are my clients? What's the product I'm going to deliver? And you think you know it, but you don't always know it. Sure. God is still working inside of us. How about you? Did you know what you wanted to do right away?
I still don't know what I want to do. But the thing is, when I started my transition, I made the commitment to be willing to try new things and open doors that normally I just said no to. So I've been able to do a whole bunch of things. It's been fantastic, and who knows what the future holds. And I'm excited about that. All right, so we only got a couple
part about life. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we only got a couple minutes left, so let's jump into your company here, Achieve New Heights LLC. Tell us briefly a little bit about it and what you're doing with it.
Yeah, like I said, the real focus now has become career transition. So I bring in a lot of the John Maxwell material through his books, through his training, leadership principles, the DISC personality assessment, and other things to help the job applicants. A lot of them military veterans, military spouses. I was doing mock interviews with military spouses this week, and helping them, A, to figure out what they want to do, and B, then how to articulate their experience to a company to be able to do that. Well, I'm working on a digital course right now because what I see, I was at a Red, White, and U job fair, military focused San Antonio, military city. And I just went around company after company, city, county, military, corporate, nonprofit. What are people missing? Why are they not getting hired? And the answer was, they're not reading the job advertisement. At least we can't tell they are, because when you read their resume, almost nothing ties back to the job they're applying for. So we all call it targeted resume, but hardly anybody targets their resume. It's too much work. So I'm about helping them articulate that value of, hey, I did this, but it's not just I did it. It's here's the problem that I solved. Here's the results that came out of it. And people just don't know how to think into that piece. And I'm really helping them pull that out, right? This simple story of a senior NCO in the Navy who said, I'm just responsible for $1 million of plant and equipment. When we got down to it, within 2 weeks, when he came on board, he was able to find all the parts and the manuals for 27 forklifts that were all inoperable, that were all out of manufacture. And he got the parts onto his ship and fixed all within 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's a whole lot different than $1 million of plant and equipment. So it's about being able to articulate that in terms that the company really wants. And 95% of the resumes I see just don't do that. And that's what companies are saying. That's why we're throwing you out, because you're not tying what you did to me.
Yeah. No,
that's what I'm doing.
That's fantastic, and something that's much needed, like you said, and the data supports it. You know, and you see people all the time, and that's still one of the number one questions I get is resumes. I'm like, I don't do resumes. You're talking to the wrong guy. I can direct you to other people, but don't ask me.
I don't want to write them for people, because you have to have that person there. You have to talk to them. Even with AI, if you're not doing an interchange with AI on the bullet and going back and forth and getting deeper and deeper and it asking you questions like a person should, you're not going to get the right bullet. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Don, time goes fast on these.
Yeah, it does.
But I do appreciate you joining us today on Vet SOS to talk about your entrepreneurial journey and share some of your insights about how your journey went. On behalf of the Vet SOS family, we want to thank everyone for joining us today. And you can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and all social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe and follow so you don't miss a thing. And remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the Vet SOS Lifeline.
Amen.